girl from the media background, CNBC, she's heading Middle East, has master degree from University College London in human rights, and a undergraduate from George Mason University in government and international policy. She's passionate about human rights, focusing on journalism, reporting on human impact in the most destructive areas, economic crisis, and promoting equity and opportunities through her reporting. She runs the CNBC International operation in Middle East based in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And she has led coverage for CNBC. The leaders you saw them on television screen, you dream to see them. She has shaken hands, spent good time. It can be a Russian president of United States, and similar kind of high-profile people. So please welcome on stage Emma Graham.
It's so wonderful to see you all today, and I'm very honored. I'll try and keep it tight, keep it interesting. My presentation is not as beautiful as everybody else's because I'm going to speak a bit to you more for about 10 minutes, and then we can do some questions if that's okay. So thank you again for having me today, Dr. Musa, Ms. Salma, wherever you are. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be a part of this event in honor of the amazing women here in this room, and I enjoyed all of your presentations today. So thank you all. My name is Emma Graham, and I run CNBC in the Middle East. I've lived here in the region for about 6 years, and I've covered, as Dr. Musa says, some of the world's biggest stories throughout the Middle East for my network, and I've been very lucky to do that and to focus on this vibrant, interesting, young, amazing region. So today I'm going to talk to you about being a journalist and a woman, two very powerful things. To be a journalist, you have to read a lot, and I mean everything. Every paper, every local publication, every book, every post that might be something interesting, that might open the world's eyes to reporting something that we haven't seen before. Our jobs are really important today, as you all know, in this age of disinformation, as we watch tragedies like the one in Gaza unfolding in front of our very eyes. It's our job to make sure the world doesn't look away. You must be prepared to sacrifice a lot of your own time, and perhaps your personal life, which is much easier for men than it is for women, let's be honest. I have many times wondered if my male colleagues even consider what it would mean for them to start a family, knowing that the women around them will make sure that family is cared for. Men don't have to think about their lives the same way we do. It's just the reality. Media is something that keeps moving, even if you don't, even if you have to stop and raise a family. Many of the women I admire in media today have found a way to raise their children, and many of the women here in this room, and do things like cover wars and conflicts all over the world. Christiane Amanpour, Clarissa Ward, Hala Ghorani, Zaina Khoder, Yalda Hakim, just to name a few. Some of the most amazing, impactful journalists are women. This is what a superpower looks like to me. I know I don't have children yet, but doing this job is almost impossible on a daily basis. I can't imagine raising a family, so it is a superpower to me to see my fellow journalists doing that. I know that many women are faced with this conflict across the world every day, balancing raising a family with their work and their passion. So to anyone out here doing that today, I'm inspired by you. So I put a few slides up here because I want to talk about some things that we do face in media and that women are still struggling with in my sector. So women leave media companies, and probably most companies, faster than men, but here's some data from McKinsey. Media companies and women, we don't have it easy, and women in news organizations are leaving their companies at higher rates than men. And that just means that companies aren't really putting in the right structures in place for women to live their lives and balance their work. The hours can be demanding, as I said, the days can be long, and sometimes it's not conducive to raising your family. But it is changing, thankfully for us. We're not treated as equals just yet in terms of representation, but we're making great strides. I'll come back to that one. So I found this really interesting in doing this research for this talk today, because all of us watch news. Put your hand up if you watch, I hope you do, still watch news on a daily basis. That's promising. Our industry is dying a little bit, but I know everybody watches news on Instagram, and that's fine too. We're on Instagram, CNBC International. Khaloud spoke about this brilliantly in depth, about the underrepresentation of women, and I really enjoyed your speech, in leadership positions. And she's so right. And I thought this is really good because I'm going to talk about this as well. Look at this. I don't know if you can see it, but women comprise only 25% of creatives, directors, writers, producers, executive producers, but we're half the population. So this was a study across 114 countries. Women comprise only 24% of the people we read about, see, hear, and most of the things women are talking about and men are talking about are about women. It's children, it's women's rights. That's being talked about by men. So we're letting men tell the narrative of our lives, of half the population. So that's very concerning. We still have a long way to go, ladies. According to UN Women, only 25% of news subjects, so the people who are interviewed and the news is about, are female. As I said, we're completely underrepresented in professional categories. We're never thought of as authorities or experts. We're mostly influenced as just normal people. We don't feature as an influential CEO, business leader, or head of state. It is much rarer when we see a woman in that position. So the heads of state I speak to, mostly men. And you know where that actually is different? Is in this country, which I am so impressed about. And I can't remember whose presentation it was, but the number of women ministers that are here in Saudi, it's so impressive because when you look at my country, we still haven't had a woman leader. So again, just a little bit of background on that. The underrepresentation of women. I interview heads of states and government leaders all the time, ministers. It's always men. And this region has impressed me so much because you are putting women forward, and it is a requirement. And in the West, we're just not there yet. As of January this year, there are 26 countries where 28 women serve as head of state. So it's going to take us 130 years to reach gender equality. It's just not good enough. So we have to have those allies that I spoke about before and have men push us up, because just 15 countries have a woman head of state. That's abysmal. And I have to say, I think if more women were in charge, we would have less conflict. But I'll go back to this slide because I think it's important to mention when we do get into these positions, when we are trusted and we do reach equality, the hardships don't end there. When we do make it to the top in government and media, as CEOs, we're still faced with the same glass ceiling. And I see this all the time. Being interrupted, being spoken over, men taking credit for your work, and sometimes other women, but I know the women in here in this room would never do that to another fellow colleague. But put your hand up as a woman if you've ever been spoken over by a man. Yeah. And sometimes it's not, it's just their nature. And it's changing and it will change, but it happens. And it's just something we're used to. And we stop talking when a man talks over us. Stop doing that, and don't let it happen. We have our judgment questioned. I'm sure we've all been there, but as a woman who manages other women, I believe it's my duty to make sure that all our voices are heard, and never shy away from giving credit where credit is due. So, when it comes to being a woman in media, I've always thought it's all about opportunity, dedication, intellectual curiosity, networking, and putting yourself in front of the right people. I've been lucky in my career, and I believe that you can only get so far with luck, but I have been lucky. I've been in the right places at the right time. But the real work starts when you find yourself in a situation that you've always dreamed of, a job you've always wanted, and an opportunity you can't pass up on. This happened to me very early in my career, and another woman took a chance on me. I begged her, but she took a chance on me, and she gave me a job at Al Jazeera in New York. I was so lucky. I was about 22. And I was running coffee, and I was writing the little scroll that goes along the very bottom of the TV, which I had no idea what I was doing. You had to have the top 5 stories of the day, so I think fake it until you make it, because I did. And my hours were 1 a.m. to 9 a.m., so you have to start somewhere, but at the time it was the greatest job in the world. And it just takes one person to believe in you. And that woman was an Arab woman. We met in New York, but she believed in me, and I now feel that I have to give back to this amazing part of the world, because the first person to give me a chance was an amazing, strong Arab woman who worked at Al Jazeera. And I've witnessed, after living in the region for many years, some of the strongest, most inspiring women I have ever been lucky enough to know are right here in the Middle East. The women are most certainly in charge. And, that goes from sectors of business, policy, and education. And I learned so much from all of you, so here's to the Arab women that I'm lucky enough to know and be surrounded by. Queen Rania once said, "When a woman succeeds, she reaches out to those around her and pulls them up with her." That's why if you empower a woman, you empower a whole society. I truly believe this, and I'll just leave you with Queen Rania's thoughts, because she's not just a queen, but a queen. And happy International Women's Day to everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.